The GPT Store has officially arrived, so let's talk about it. But I want to take this video a step further. I actually want to share a super prompt with you that I've been crafting since months now. It will allow you to build your own GPTs in seconds, and in my estimation, it works 3 to 5 times better than the OpenAI GPT Builder. It's one prompt, okay? And I'll give it to you in this video. But first things first, let's talk about the GPT Store release, because now all ChatGPT Plus users have access to the GPT Store. If you don't see it, as per usual, give it up to 72 hours. They're rolling this thing out slowly, but it's officially out there now. So first things first, here's a quick overview. I think the most significant feature here is the search. This is fantastic because you get to look for keywords that are related to what you're working on and find potentially useful GPTs. Secondly, you can see the section where they feature various GPTs, and underneath are the most popular ones. Now, the thing that you'll notice here is that a lot of them are very similar. I mean, look at these most popular ones. 2/3 of them are chat with your PDF or chat with academic papers GPTs. That just goes to show that the use cases are still kind of limited because the tools we were given are kind of limited too. We'll talk more about that later. But essentially, this is a fantastic addition that is hard to hate on. You have a search function, they recommend some, and this will only get better over time as the GPTs get better over time. And actually, there was one more announcement today, which is their brand new Teams plan. And to me, this is actually even more exciting than the GPT Store, because the thing that everybody has been looking forward to in the GPT Store is the monetization feature, which is not available as of now. They said that in Q1, it will be available in the US, and your earnings will depend on how much usage the GPT sees. But that doesn't say a whole lot, and it could take another 2 months till that even arrives. But as mentioned, the thing that is here today is the Teams feature, and I think this is actually pretty exciting. And there's really 2 standout features here. The rest is just a different way of billing and managing user accounts. So in my opinion, the biggest one is the access to GPT-4 with 32K context inside of ChatGPT.com. This is super powerful because it's 4 times more context than you had up until now with GPT-4. In other words, you get to have 4 times longer conversation now if you have the Teams account. Additionally, you also get to send more messages, so every 3 hours you get 100 messages. That together with this context makes it super versatile. The only other notable thing is that you get more security and privacy as they claim, and you get early access to new features and improvements. And then some people on X shared this screenshot that they also got today, and this means they're essentially rolling out a feature where GPTs will have more memory. The GPT will learn in between different conversations and retain that info moving forward. As a result, it will improve over time and you can manage what it remembers. So as you can see, all of these updates point at one thing, and they're GPTs. They're the direction that OpenAI is taking the product into. We get the store, we get more context, we get more memory, but all of this only matters if you build useful GPTs. So let's talk about that. And luckily we don't have to work from scratch, right? Because over the course of the last few months, people have been building actually over 3 million custom GPTs in total. And what I did over Christmas and New Year's is I analyzed almost 1,000 GPTs for you, and I used a little trick to extract the instructions to bring this very video to you. Okay, so first of all, I'll share the trick with you so you can do this yourself and learn yourself, and then I'll share with you what I came up with. This super prompt doesn't just come from thin air. I studied all these GPTs to make it easier for you to build your very own, which you can eventually sell or share with colleagues, whatever your plans might be. So here's a little bit of a hidden fact about GPTs that not everybody knows about. And that's the fact that you can actually look inside of a GPT to see what instructions and knowledge it actually uses. So I showed this off in a live event inside of my ChatGPT course around a month ago. And it's this little prompt. Check it out. If I just go to this fact checker GPT and I paste this prompt, you can find it in the description as per usual. It will extract the custom instructions that the creator of this GPT has given it. Now, yes, you can protect against this technique, but then there's others. As pointed out by OpenAI employee Logan.GPT on X here, all of the information made available to a GPT, including the prompt instructions and attached files, may be used by the model to construct a response to the user. Don't include information you do not want the user to know. Essentially confirming that there is tricks like this to extract instructions from every GPT. So I went ahead and did just that. And at this point, I did it on over 1,000 GPTs. And in this video, I'm going to teach you what I learned along the way. So the first thing that I learned is that a lot of the things that work really well get repeated in different GPTs. People read these instructions from each other, copy pasted, and there's just some parts that are no-brainer. Giving your GPT access to web browsing and referencing that in the custom instructions is a good idea. Telling it what response tone you want is a good idea. And there's many more. So what I did and what this video is essentially going to be about is about a new building block system that I developed that really simplifies and summarizes a lot of these building blocks that are probably a good idea to include when you're building a GPT. So we need to briefly talk about these building blocks so all of this makes sense to you, but eventually I'll give you the prompt that just does all the work for you. It compiles the full GPT, builds it for you, and you just get to copy copy paste it. So here they are. This is what I came up with. You can find all of it in the description below. Feel free to use it. I won't go into all of this in depth in this video, but essentially these are just simplified versions of what works. So by no means are the best GPTs built just with these. But if you're just starting out, feel free to stick to just these and you'll be just fine. Or maybe you have GPTs already. Well, you might want to take a building block from here and add it to that. Again, this is meant as a starting point for beginners, and essentially these compete with the OpenAI GPT Builder. And in the last part of this video, I'll actually prove this because I'll build a GPT with my system and with the GPT Builder, and you can judge yourself which one performs better. But before we do that, let's address the elephant in the room, because I'm talking about the instructions part of the GPT here, right? And you probably know that there's also the knowledge part where you can upload files and it uses them as context, and then there's these actions. Well, so the knowledge part is super good, but it's just additional context. You could add more than just in the instructions. Like one of the most common things I see here is a tutorial file. You can include a tutorial.txt or a readme.txt, and then you include this tutorial accessibility building block that I have here, and the user will be able to access the tutorial that you include in this knowledge base. So it will make it really friendly for newcomers. But honestly, this feature is not a game changer. It's good to add context. You can add some relevant data, a tutorial, but that's about it. I haven't seen like a revolutionary use case of this feature. But then there are the actions, right? Many people are saying that actions are the true game changer here. Well, there's a problem with them, and it's significant. They're super inconsistent. And with inconsistent, I mean, no matter how you set them up, how well you prompt them from within the instructions, a lot of times they just fail and they don't get used for whatever reason. They're just inconsistent by design. I'm sure this will change over time. There's some fun ones, there's some cool ones, but again, no game changers. Maybe I just haven't looked at the right ones. Not even the Canva GPT, in my opinion, is a worthy action. I'd rather just use Canva itself. And hey, maybe I haven't seen it all, and feel free to enlighten me in the comments. But as of today, that's my take on actions. Okay, so back to the GPT building block system and the instructions here. What I used as inspiration is the GPT Builder system prompt that my team managed to extract from the GPT Builder. So this is what OpenAI uses in the background. I will link to this Notion site also in the description. But basically here you can study how they built their GPT Builder. The problem is they're relying upon this Gizmo editor action in the background, and this thing just doesn't work as well as I would like it to. That's why I had to go back and redo the whole thing. And that's what I did with these building blocks. So you can mix and match multiple of these to create your very own GPTs. And certain parts here, I just copy pasted from their own tool. For example, this browser tool, this is a great implementation, and this works perfectly because it references the exact functions that the browser tool has. But beyond that, in most cases, you'll be better off mixing and matching your own GPT and using this as a starting point. And before we get into actually building a GPT and then comparing that to the OpenAI builder, I want to address one last thing, and that is to some of the loyal followers of the AI advantage. The question might pop up,
Igor, what is the difference between this building blocks approach and the other building blocks approach you had for the custom instructions and your business blueprint product?
For anybody who's not familiar, if you sign up to our weekly newsletter, you get a free template here. There's a lot, okay? There's prompts, styles, follow-ups, but mainly there's these assistants here. And under the assistant, there's a tab which says GPTs, and you get these GPT instructions here, okay? So the difference here is the following. These are assistants. So if you're a web designer and you want a web designer AI assistant, you will get more specialized answers and dialed in preferences from a web designer if you use this preset. What I'm showing you here with these building blocks is more what GPTs were meant to be, and that is agents. What that means is versions of ChatGPT that are designed to act, to do stuff. So yes, if the actions worked flawlessly, then this is the preferable approach. If you have a specific goal in mind, like creating a high-performance coach for your specific career, then this approach is better. If you want just a general purpose assistant in your career, then this assistance approach is better. If you have a specific goal you want to achieve, you want an agent GPT. If you just want a general purpose assistant for your work, you want an assistant GPT. And both of these approaches are very simplified and can and should be extended, but they're the best starting point I've found for people that are just getting into building these. And more advanced folks can take these and extend their existing GPTs with some parts that they might have forgotten. All right, so with all that said, let's actually get into building one of these and comparing it to what OpenAI would do for you by default. So this is my brand new Teams account, and what I'm gonna do, is very simple. I'm gonna copy this super prompt. It's gigantic, it's ginormous, and I won't be going into it. All you have to know is that it's enough to just copy paste this in here and hit enter, okay? So the GPT building process begins. Now it's gonna greet you with a message, and all you need to do is follow these 2 steps. I've set this up so a 10-year-old could do this, okay? So it says, welcome to the AI Advantage Custom GPT Builder. Start by clearly defining your chatbot's intended purpose. Tip: Detail is key. For instance, resolve financial disputes with my female partner is more helpful than just resolve conflicts with my partner. With that being said, you can keep it super simple. What I'm gonna do in this case, I'm gonna build a GPT that was actually helpful to me over the past few months, and that is one to manage my emotions while playing computer games. I don't play a lot, but I do enjoy hyper competitive games, and sometimes when people mess up, emotions get high, and it's good to have an assistant to talk about that. Also, it makes a great example, and you can adapt this to whatever emotions you might be facing in your everyday life, because this is gonna be a personalized coach just for you. Not bad, right? So I'll just say, help me manage my emotions while gaming. That's how simple this can be. Just state the goal that you're looking for help with. And what I set this up to do is now it's gonna ask some clarifying questions. Now look, if you don't want to answer these, I included the option at the end that if I just say auto, it will automatically answer all of these and give me the finished GPT that I can now copy paste and it's ready to go. But I'll actually take a second to personalize this to make this my very own, right? Because I want a hyper personalized coach that fits my very own needs. If you want to be using this for your team or even sell these GPTs, strongly recommend you do that too. Okay, so short and sweet answers to all of these. If you want to make it more precise, feel free to do that. It's also going to make the GPT more precise. But there we go. It's already building it. So it called it the Game Sense Guru. All right, not bad for a name. And here it begins. This is where the GPT begins. So starting with communication sequence, you're going to copy paste this entire part that it's generating here. And I'm not gonna go into depth on how this is set up and how to customize it. That's why I have my course. We have live events and a community where we do that. We actually launched the GPT Building Challenge, where the entire community is building their own version of a mental health coach to help themselves or people in their environment. And then we post them in the community, and me and the team and the other community members feedback them to make them as good as possible. So if you wanna go more in depth, you can find a link in the description to that below. By the way, I'll be closing enrollment to the course and the community with that on January 19th and then reopening it sometimes in March or April. Just because I want to focus on doing more with the people that are there instead of always onboarding new members. Okay, and this finished generating. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the communication sequence. This is how the GPT will interact with the user, and instructions. This is how the GPT is supposed to behave. And that's it. Our GPT is ready to go. Now I can customize this as I use it, but basically I just go to Explore, create a GPT. I'm gonna enter the name, the Game Sense Guru. I actually like that name. And there you go. I could save this and it's ready to go. And you know what? I'm actually gonna include some conversational starters, aka some prompts. And the way we're gonna do this is by utilizing the business blueprint, which is another product we developed. And here I'm gonna search for a therapist. Actually, I'm gonna go with the psychiatric nurse. By the way, we now have over 1,000 different characters like this with 30 matching prompts each. And I'm just gonna pick one of these. How about this one? Formulate compassionate response. So I'm gonna build in a feature here where my GPT is actually going to formulate compassionate responses to my teammates. Let's just customize this. How can I construct empathetic responses to patients? Just gonna change this to players, expressing specific concerns, delusions, expressing toxic behavior, right? Supply examples adhering to therapeutic response models. Love it. And there we go. I'm just gonna go ahead and save this. And you could totally add additional files and actions to this as you go. And over time, you'll be developing this, making it more specific and all that good stuff. But basically, I could go in now and share my emotions and it's gonna guide me through the process. I'm feeling angry after lost game. And then my Game Sense Guru replies with gamer slang, but it does act as a coach, showing understanding and asking you clarifying questions about the situation. And as mentioned, you can always go in here and personalize this, right? Maybe I want to customize the welcome sequence, or I could test my preset prompt just by clicking it. This is powerful stuff, and the cool thing is you can really customize this to whatever problems you are facing. And if enough other people face the same problems you have, now with the GPT Store, they get to use it too. Eventually, you might be even able to monetize it. And trust me if I tell you, this will only get better. We got a lot of features today, but this is just the beginning. Eventually, you'll be able to select multiple GPTs, let them work together. These actions will become way easier and way more reliable. And the number one thing I'm hoping for is that they will actually make these accessible to everyone, not just ChatGPT Plus users. I would love to share this with the whole internet and not just people that are paying for the subscription. So yeah, there you go. I hope that was valuable to you. And here's another video about building assistant GPTs that you'll probably enjoy if you watch this far. All right, good luck out there with all the GPTs that are available now.